I'm trying to paint and assemble, as today I am assembling Krom Dragongaze from the Sanctus Reach Stormclaw set. So here we have his little teeny tiny sprue, which is cram packed with bits, which is pretty cool. This is like the limited edition sprue. It just came in the box set, which is no longer available, which is a shame really, because it's actually really nice. Like, I think they probably would have done better if this guy, especially because he's a special character, was just released in general. But yeah, anyway, we start by clipping off all our little bits and pieces off of here, because there's no use us if we leave them alone. We're just get them all off to start with, even if they're reluctant sometimes. So yeah. So the pieces we got this cool little Space Wolf cape. It's pretty funky looking. It's got, like, as you can see, little inscribed, like, pretty patterns and stuff. We got this little rock with an orc skull. We got a Krom iconography there on the shoulder pad. We've got little, what looks like a lion head, but it's a wolf head on the other shoulder pad there. And we got this bolt pistol arm. Now there is not much particularly special about this. It's got a little scope on it, but that's about it. Otherwise it could just be any arm. This is his little Frost Axe. I say little, it's pretty big. It's got like its own special rules and stuff. I don't know what they are off the top of my head, but it's pretty cool. And we got his torso here. Tons of detail on this. He's got a little pointy dagger to poke things with. He's got like the fur foot hanging over. And as you can see, it just on the top here, it's like the same as the Thunderwolf Cavalry, where there's no hole for the head, it's just flat. Then we have the leg and a half piece, it's just a leg and a half. That's pretty much all there is. Then we have the other half, and it's got some little winged wolf head symbol on it, which I think looks pretty odd, but yeah. We got just an arm, we got a wolf tail thing, and we got the really cool backpack. I think all Space Wolves should just have backpacks like this with the wolf heads coming off the sides and some funky bone thing going on the top. Like, I think it's the most impressive piece. Then we got his little pretty face there with his little open mouth and his mohawk, because he's a badass, you know. So we'll start by dangerously slicing our knife towards our fingers, just to take off all the lumps and stuff where we clipped off them off from the sprues. Then we want to use the side of our blade, do a little scrapey just to smooth off these areas and just get rid of it, like any leftover marks. And we're going around all our pieces just doing this, just little cuts and scrape. And it gets rid of things like the mold lines as well. Then I'm gluing. Here I'm gluing, putting a bit of glue on the hole on top of the little rocky base piece. This is just where the little peg on the bottom of its little half leg just like sits in, and it just stands on there just like that. Really simple. Then the other one here, the leg and a half piece, there's another little peg that goes into the little knee there. So I'm just like lining it up, see how it goes together. Like the one foot stands on the floor and the other one goes on the leg. So a bit of glue on the open knee area there, and then it just like sits on. And you just gotta make sure it's in properly lines up. Then I'm doing the cape and back piece, and because of how this torso, if you put the two halves of the torso together first, it won't just sit on those legs. So I'm putting a bit of glue just on the back of the cape piece here, and I'm just like sitting that on the back of the legs first, and just holding that in place before I then move on to this piece, which is the front of the torso. And then I'll just sandwich this on the front. And like, I'm putting glue, it goes down a bit over where his loincloth goes, because that like sticks to his body. And you gotta really try and wiggle this and be really careful to line it up. Don't want to get glue everywhere, but you want to make sure his leg goes nice and in between that wolf foot and his blade there. Once that's on, we move on to the next piece, and I'm just doing this little tiny arm here. As you can see, it's got like a weird like dent in it kind of thing, and the same thing is mirrored on the shoulder. And this is to make it so the piece can only go on in one way, and it will just lock on in that way. And yeah, just a bit of glue, push it on there, and it will stick out the side, really odd looking, but it's perfectly fine. Like, that is the way it goes, so don't doubt it. Then the other arm, again, it's got like a little hole for a weird little peg, and if you look at the shoulder, there is a strange little peg there, so it's all good. A bit of glue on that, and then I can just move on to pushing these together. And you want to just hold it, because there's a bit of weight in that pistol, and the arm will try and droop or fall off. Then we're on the shoulder pads. The first one's the one with his own personal like chapter iconography stuff. This goes on his bolt pistol arm. So I just put a bit of glue onto his shoulder. and then it will just sit on like all shoulder pads. Nice and simple, nice and easy. And then I'm going straight onto the next shoulder pad, the one with the wolf head on it. And again, it's the same process, bit of glue, and it will just sit into place. Though, if your Krom's like mine, he will try and run away whilst you're trying to put it on. Then I'm onto his giant axe. Now, there is a tiny peg that's virtually invisible on that wrist to like hold this axe on, and it really does not help at all. It just makes it more complicated trying to line it up, and the weight of the axe trying to pull it off, and it's a really awkward design, but once you got it, and it's a lot of stress, but you gotta bear through it. Then we're going on to the backpack, same as all Space Marine backpacks, just a little lump, bit of glue, and then there's a hole in the backpack, and you just push it straight on there. I say straight on there. If you're like me, you'll miss 3 times. Then it goes straight on there. And you just want to hold it so it kind of seals a little bit, and then you want to just twist it just a tiny bit, and just to make sure it lines up with his torso. If it's at an odd angle to his torso, you're just not right, and it's not. Then I'm doing this little wolf tail thing. It's got a little hole in the back and this tiny little studdy thing on his chest there. So I put the tiniest little dot of glue on there, and this is really hard to film because it's a tiny piece, but I'm just like pushing it on there. Tiny pieces are always difficult. And then it's his head, so I'm putting a bit of glue in the non-existent neck hole because it's just flat, and then just lowering the head on, and you want to just like twist it so it's like facing with the pistol and stuff. Now in all the like painted pictures it shows this big fat base, and in the instruction manual it shows to use a regular base. Now I think it makes a whole lot more sense to use the regular size base, because that is what power armor marines are usually standing on. If you look at his base, like the rocks that he's standing on, it's designed to like hang over the edge while the other foot sits on, and like he's clearly made to be on this small base. I think they only used the bigger base just to make him stand out more and look more powerful in the painted pictures and publications and stuff. He really is meant for the smaller base. So our finished Krom just looks like this. Give him a little twirl here. I mean, he's okay, he's pretty cool. Like, he's a plastic HQ choice, so I'm happy with him for now. And then just compare him here next to Gruk, just so you can have a size comparison. And you can see Gruk was definitely made for the slightly bigger base. So thank you for watching my assembly video. Click here to see some of my painting videos for all sorts of stuff, and check out my channel for even more painting videos of even more sorts of stuff, because that's what I do. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.